Work is optional? Deals aren't? A reality check on Elon Musk's predictions by David Russo. There's a seductive idea floating around right now, one delivered confidently from podcast stages, conference halls, and billionaire Twitter feeds. It goes something like this: don't worry too much about retirement. Don't stress about saving for the long term. Artificial intelligence is coming fast, work will become optional, and the old rules won't apply much longer. Elon Musk, one of the most influential voices behind this vision, has openly suggested that people may not need to plan for traditional retirement at all. AI, he says, will surpass human intelligence, automate most labor, and radically reshape how society functions. In that future, the grind dissolves. The safety nets arrive. The problem of money fades. It's a hopeful story. It's also a dangerous one, because while the future is being debated on stages and timelines, the present is still knocking on the door every month: rent due, groceries needed, medical bills waiting patiently in the mailbox. And that leads us to the central question of this book: should everyday people reshape their financial lives around predictions made by someone who doesn't live paycheck to paycheck? In Chapter 1, The Billionaire Prediction Problem, we look directly at these bold claims. Not to mock them, and not to dismiss technological progress, but to put them in context. Predictions are not policies. Forecasts are not guarantees. And optimism, no matter how brilliant the source, does not pay electric bills. That tension deepens in Chapter 2, Do As I Say, Not As I Do, where we explore the reality gap between those giving the advice and those expected to follow it. Billionaires can afford to be wrong. They can afford decades-long timelines, failed bets, and radical experimentation. Most people can't. When predictions miss the mark, the consequences land very differently depending on your bank balance. Then comes the uncomfortable but necessary question in Chapter 3, what happens if the prediction is wrong? History is filled with confident forecasts that arrived late or never at all. If AI doesn't replace most work in 10 or 20 years, what then? What's the plan when hope expires but expenses don't? In Chapter 4, Saving Money is Not Hoarding Its Insurance, we challenge the idea that saving is outdated or fearful. Saving isn't a rejection of progress. It's protection against reality, layoffs, illness, emergencies, aging. None of those wait for technological revolutions to finish loading. From there, Chapter 5, The Lottery Economy Fallacy, tackles the extreme alternative: the belief that the smart move is to spend now, gamble big, and hope for a windfall. Whether it's lottery tickets, speculative hype, or reckless consumption dressed up as living fully, this mindset enriches industries far more often than it secures individual futures. In Chapter 6, Retirement Isn't Always 20 Years Away, we ground the conversation in real timelines. Many people are retiring now. Others are one injury or diagnosis away from needing to stop. Not everyone gets to work indefinitely, and not every job can be done forever. Chapter 7, Until the Monetary System Changes, Bills Still Exist, brings us back to the present. Even if AI transforms everything someday, today's world still runs on money. Rent, utilities, food, insurance, and healthcare don't accept future predictions as payment. Then, in Chapter 8, The Work is Optional Fantasy, we ask a simple question: who keeps the lights on? Physical, skilled, and emergency labor, plumbers, electricians, technicians, builders will remain essential far longer than most headlines suggest. Finally, Chapter 9, Preparing for Change Without Gambling Your Future, offers a balanced path forward. You can adapt, learn, invest, and stay informed without abandoning saving or stability. And in Chapter 10, Hope is Not a Financial Plan, we land on the core truth of this book: optimism is healthy, but it's not a substitute for security. Saving just in case isn't fear. It's wisdom. The future may be extraordinary, but until it arrives, your life still runs on today's rules. And ignoring that reality doesn't make you visionary, it makes you vulnerable. Chapter 1, The Billionaire Prediction Problem. There's a certain confidence that comes with having more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. It's not arrogance, at least not always. It's insulation. When your future is already secured, risk feels philosophical instead of personal. And that matters, because some of the loudest predictions about your future are coming from people who no longer have to worry about theirs. Elon Musk has said, more than once, that people shouldn't stress too much about retirement. That artificial intelligence will surpass human intelligence. That work, as we know it, may become optional. In his vision of the future, machines handle production, abundance increases, and human labor becomes less necessary. It's an optimistic forecast, and to be fair, it's not coming from ignorance. Musk sits at the center of technological innovation. He sees trends most people don't. But here's the problem: seeing the future is not the same as living with the consequences if you're wrong. For someone worth hundreds of billions of dollars, retirement isn't a phase, it's a historical footnote. If AI arrives late, early, or sideways, his quality of life doesn't change. Missed timelines don't mean missed meals. Failed predictions don't mean eviction notices. There's a safety net so thick it feels like the ground itself. Most people don't have that luxury. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, saving for the future isn't a theoretical exercise, it's survival planning. When a billionaire says, "Don't worry too much," what they're really saying is, "I don't have to worry." That distinction matters more than the prediction itself. This chapter, it isn't about attacking Elon Musk or dismissing technological progress. Progress is real. AI is powerful. Change is coming. The question is not whether the future will be different. The question is who absorbs the risk while we wait for it to arrive. History gives us a useful warning here. Every generation has had its prophets of inevitability, people who were absolutely certain that technology would eliminate scarcity, labor, or economic struggle within a generation. Some of those changes eventually happened. Many didn't. And almost all of them took longer than promised. Predictions tend to age poorly. Deals do not. When someone with unlimited resources tells you to plan your life around an uncertain future, you have to ask a simple, uncomfortable question: what happens to me if they're wrong? Because they won't be the ones adjusting. You will. The billionaire prediction problem isn't that wealthy people are evil or dishonest. It's that their margin for error is enormous, and yours is not. They can afford to be early. They can afford to be wrong. They can afford to gamble on timelines measured in decades. You can't. So as we move forward in this book, we're going to separate inspiration from instruction. We'll respect innovation without surrendering responsibility. We'll talk about the future, but we'll anchor our decisions in the present, because optimism is easy and the floor can't fall out from under you. Wisdom is planning for the future as it is, not just as someone hopes it will be. Chapter 2. Do as I say, not as I do. Advice sounds very different depending on who gives it and who has to live with the results. When someone at the top of the economic pyramid tells you to take bigger risks, loosen your grip on security, or stop worrying so much about the future, it's worth pausing to ask a simple question: what would this advice cost them if it failed? For billionaires, the answer is usually not much. People like Elon Musk operate in a world where risk is diversified across companies, investments, advisors, and time itself. If one prediction fails, another opportunity replaces it. If a decade passes without the promised breakthrough, life remains comfortable, stimulating, and secure. Risk becomes a narrative choice, not a survival gamble. That's why Do As I Say, Not As I Do shows up so often in conversations about money and the future. Publicly, the message may sound carefree. Don't oversave. Don't fear disruption. Don't cling to old systems. Privately, the behavior tells a different story. The wealthy hedge. They diversify. They hold assets, cash reserves, property, and influence. They don't abandon security, they multiply it. Most people are not in a position to do that. When a billionaire talks about long timelines, they're speaking from a place where time is an asset. Waiting 20 years for a prediction to come true isn't a problem when your needs are already met. But for someone with rent due next month, kids to support, or a body that's already feeling the strain of work, 20 years isn't abstract. It's everything. This imbalance is the quiet danger of aspirational advice. It's not malicious, it's mismatched. Guidance designed for people with unlimited runway doesn't translate cleanly to lives where one bad year can erase a decade of progress. There's also a subtle psychological trap here. When powerful people frame uncertainty as confidence, it can make caution feel like weakness. Saving starts to look like fear. Stability starts to feel outdated. And suddenly, responsible decisions are reframed as a lack of vision, But responsibility and vision are not opposites. The truth is, the people telling you not to worry have already worried enough in their own lives to never have to do it again. They didn't get where they are by ignoring risk, they managed it aggressively. They planned, protected, and positioned themselves before taking big swings. So when you hear advice that encourages you to loosen your grip on security, ask yourself, is this wisdom, or is this comfort speaking? There's nothing wrong with listening to bold thinkers. But there is something dangerous about copying strategies without copying circumstances. Context is not a footnote. It's the whole equation. In the chapters ahead, we're going to keep pulling this thread. Not to reject ambition, innovation, or progress, but to ground them in reality. Because the goal isn't to live fearfully. It's to live deliberately. And deliberate choices start with recognizing that advice isn't universal, especially, and the person giving it will never have to pay the price if it doesn't work out. Chapter 3. What happens if the prediction is wrong? Predictions feel powerful because they borrow confidence from the future. When someone speaks with certainty about what's coming next, it creates a sense of inevitability, like resisting it would be foolish, even backwards. But certainty is not the same thing as accuracy. And history is brutally honest about how often confident predictions miss their mark, not because people are stupid, but because the future is complicated. We were told flying cars would be common by the year 2000, that paper would disappear, that the internet would end money as we know it. Some changes came. Many didn't. And almost all of them took longer, arrived unevenly, or created new problems alongside the solutions. Artificial intelligence may very well transform work. It may replace certain jobs. It may even create systems we can't fully imagine yet. But here's the question that actually matters to your life. What happens if the timeline is wrong? What if AI doesn't replace most work in 10 years? Or 20? What if it replaces some jobs, but not yours? What if it increases productivity, but not wages? What if it creates abundance in theory, but scarcity in practice? Predictions tend to speak in absolutes. Reality rarely does. The danger isn't believing that change is coming. The danger is restructuring your entire financial life around a single outcome and having no backup plan if it doesn't arrive on schedule. Hope is powerful, but hope without preparation is just exposure. Imagine planning as if work will become optional by midlife, then discovering that your skills are still required, your bills are still due, and your savings are thin because you assumed the system would change before you needed it to. That gap between expectation and reality is where stress lives. That's where options disappear. Smart planning doesn't require pessimism. It requires redundancy. In engineering, systems are designed with fail-safes because everyone understands a simple truth: things go wrong. Timelines slip. Variables change. Financial planning should be no different. A future where AI transforms everything can coexist with a present where you still need income, savings, and stability. The question isn't whether the prediction is exciting. It's whether you're protected if it's delayed or run entirely, because if a billionaire's forecast misses by 20 years, it's an inconvenience. If your plan misses by 20 years, it's your retirement, your health, your freedom on the line. So before you adjust your life around someone else's certainty, pause and ask, what's my plan B? And then ask the more important follow-up, does it work even if nothing dramatic changes at all? Progress favors those who are prepared for multiple futures, not just the most optimistic one. And the most powerful position you can be in is not hoping for a rescue but knowing you'll be okay even if it never comes. Chapter 4. Saving money is not hoarding its insurance. Somewhere along the way, saving money got a bad reputation. It started being framed as fear-based, outdated, even selfish. If the future is supposed to be abundant, people ask, why hold back? Why prepare for problems that technology is going to solve anyway? Here's the truth no trend can erase. Life still happens. Saving money isn't about expecting the worst. It's about refusing to be blindsided by reality. Emergencies don't wait for economic revolutions. Layoffs don't pause because AI is almost ready. Illness doesn't check the innovation timeline before showing up. These things arrive when they arrive. Savings is what turns a crisis into a setback instead of a catastrophe. Think of savings the same way you think of insurance. You don't buy insurance because you're pessimistic. You buy it because you understand probability. You understand that even good lads have bad moments, and preparation gives you options when emotions are high and time is short. Savings creates breathing room. It buys you time to make better decisions. Time to say no to bad jobs. Time to recover without panic. Time to adapt when the world changes faster than expected or slower. That space is not hoarding. It's resilience. There's also a quiet dignity in being prepared. When your car breaks down or your hours get cut, savings lets you respond calmly instead of desperately. Desperation is expensive. It forces rushed choices, high-interest debt, and long-term consequences for short-term relief. Preparation, on the other hand, compounds. Some people argue that saving means you don't believe in progress. But that's a false choice. You can believe in innovation and respect uncertainty. You can be excited about the future while protecting yourself in the present. These are not contradictions, they're complements. The wealthiest individuals and institutions in the world understand this deeply. They don't stop saving because they're confident. They save because they're strategic. They expect volatility, and they plan for it. So if anyone ever makes you feel small or outdated for putting money aside, remember this: you're not resisting the future. You're strengthening your position within it. Saving isn't about hiding from life. It's about meeting it on your own terms, steady, prepared, and unafraid. And in a world full of bold promises and uncertain timelines, that kind of security isn't weakness, it's power. Chapter 5. The Lottery Economy Fallacy. When people are told that saving is pointless and the future will take care of itself, something else quietly fills the gap: the urge to gamble. If slow, steady planning feels obsolete, then the only thing left is the big win, the shortcut, the miracle, the overnight escape. This is what I call the lottery economy fallacy. It's the belief that security will come not from preparation, but from a single lucky break. A winning ticket. A viral moment. A speculative bet. A luxury experience justified by the idea that money won't matter soon anyway. It feels bold. It feels alive. And for a moment, it feels hopeful, but hope built on improbability is not a strategy, it's a transfer of risk. Lottery systems, speculative markets, and impulse-driven consumption don't exist to make individuals wealthy. They exist because most people lose. The math depends on it. Every story of sudden success is powered by thousands of quiet failures that never make headlines. Industries understand this psychology well. They sell aspiration, urgency, and the illusion of control. They encourage people to spend today in exchange for a fantasy tomorrow. And when it doesn't work, as it usually doesn't, the cost isn't just financial. It's emotional. Shame replaces optimism. Stress replaces excitement. The most dangerous part of the lottery mindset is that it disguises itself as courage. It frames discipline as boring and restraint as weakness. But real courage isn't betting everything on a miracle, it's choosing consistency in a culture obsessed with shortcuts. Spending your savings on high-risk bets or reckless consumption doesn't make you forward-thinking. It makes you vulnerable. Because when the gamble fails, you don't get a refund on time, health, or peace of mind. There's also a subtle cruelty in how this mindset is marketed. When someone loses, the failure is framed as personal. You didn't believe enough. You didn't try hard enough. The system escapes blame, and the individual absorbs it. But the truth is simpler. The odds were never in your favor. Financial stability is rarely dramatic. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It's built quietly through habits that look unimpressive from the outside but feel incredibly powerful. When life gets hard, you don't need a jackpot to win. You need durability. As we move deeper into a future full of bold promises and uncertain outcomes, the people who thrive won't be the ones chasing miracles. They'll be the ones who refuse to trade long-term security for short-term excitement, because the real flex isn't getting lucky, it's not needing luck at all. Chapter 6. Retirement isn't always 20 years away. One of the most common assumptions baked into future-focused predictions is time. There's always plenty of it. Plenty of years to adapt. Plenty of decades for systems to change, technology to mature, and solutions to arrive just in time. But time is not distributed evenly. For many people, retirement isn't a distant concept floating somewhere beyond the horizon. It's close. Sometimes uncomfortably close. Others may not even get to choose when it arrives. a bad knee, a damaged back, chronic illness, mental burnout, family responsibilities. Careers don't always end with a clean plan and a gold watch. They end when the body or life says, enough. This is especially true for people in physically demanding jobs: construction workers, nurses, technicians, drivers, service workers. These roles keep society running, but they extract a real cost. You don't get infinite good years from a body that's been carrying weight, stress, and repetition for decades. Yet so much financial advice assumes an ideal timeline: work steadily, transition smoothly, retire comfortably at some abstract age in the future. That story leaves out a lot of real lives. It also ignores another reality: many people are retiring right now. Not in 20 years. Not after the next breakthrough. Now. They don't have the luxury of waiting to see how predictions play out. They need stability based on the system as it exists today. When someone tells you not to worry because the future will handle it, they're assuming you'll still be able to work until that future arrives. That assumption is a gamble, one that millions of people lose every year through no fault of their own. Planning for retirement isn't about pessimism. It's about acknowledging that your earning years are finite, even if you don't know exactly where the finish line is. Preparing early doesn't mean you expect things to go wrong. It means you respect the possibility that they might. And here's the part no one likes to say out loud: the earlier you're forced to stop working, the more expensive life becomes. Medical costs rise. Energy drops. Flexibility narrows. Money becomes less about growth and more about protection. That's why timelines matter. When you plan as if retirement is far away, you give up leverage. When you plan as if it could arrive sooner than expected, you give yourself options. This chapter isn't meant to create fear. It's meant to create honesty. Because real empowerment doesn't come from assuming you'll always be able to earn. It comes from building a life where you don't always have to, and that freedom is worth preparing for starting now. Chapter 7. Until the monetary system changes, bills still exist. It's easy to talk about a future where money doesn't matter anymore. Where abundance is automatic, work is optional, and the systems we rely on today feel as outdated as dial-up internet. It's a comforting idea, almost utopian. But here's the reality we wake up to every morning. Money still runs the present. No matter how advanced technology becomes, today's world still operates on invoices and due dates. Rent doesn't accept optimism as payment. Utility companies don't pause billing because innovation is accelerating. Grocery stores, insurance providers, hospitals, they all function on the same system they did yesterday. The future may be under construction, but the current system is still fully operational. This is where many well-intentioned predictions quietly fail everyday people. They skip over the transition period. They talk about the destination without addressing the cost of getting there. And for most people, that transition is where the real risk lives. Even if AI radically reshapes society one day, there will be years, likely decades, where old rules and new technologies exist side by side. During that overlap, money doesn't disappear. It becomes more important, not less. Those who are unprepared feel the squeeze first. Believing that the monetary system will change is not the same as living in a world where it has. Until wages, housing, healthcare, and food are fundamentally restructured, personal responsibility doesn't vanish. It sharpens. There's also a psychological danger in treating money as temporary. When people believe the system is about to end, they stop respecting it. They delay planning. They ignore obligations. And when the change doesn't arrive on schedule, the consequences compound quietly and painfully. Financial responsibility isn't loyalty to a broken system. It's navigation within it. You can advocate for better systems and still protect yourself under the current one. You can believe money should matter less, while acknowledging that, right now, it matters a lot. These ideas are not in conflict, they're practical. The truth is, every major societal shift in history took longer than expected and impacted people unevenly. Those with resources adapted first. Those without paid the price of uncertainty. Until money itself becomes obsolete, and not just theoretically but functionally, your bills are real, enforceable, and relentless. Ignoring that doesn't make you progressive. It makes you exposed. This chapter is a reminder, not a rejection of the future. Hope for change. Support innovation. Dream big, just don't let tomorrow's promises leave you unprotected today. Chapter 8. The work is optional fantasy. There's a compelling vision circulating today, a future where work, as we know it, is optional. Artificial intelligence handles production. Automation runs industries. People spend their time creating, exploring, or relaxing while machines take care of the rest. It's exciting, almost intoxicating. Who wouldn't want a world where the daily grind isn't necessary? But here's the hard truth: some work will never disappear. Not because technology can't replicate it, but because some tasks are inherently human, physical, or urgent. Roads still need repair. Plumbing breaks. Electrical systems fail. Units need maintenance. Emergency services respond to crises. Skilled labor plumbers, electricians, mechanics, nurses, firefighters cannot be fully automated, and they will remain essential long after predictions of a work-free society dominate headlines. Even in a highly automated economy, work doesn't vanish. It transforms. It shifts. And those transformations create winners and losers, often unevenly. Some jobs may become easier, others more specialized. Some industries may shrink, others will explode. But the core reality remains: someone still has to keep society running, and that someone may very well be you. The fantasy of work disappearing entirely can be seductive because it appeals to our desire for freedom without effort. But freedom without preparation is vulnerability. Believing in a work-free future can lull people into overconfidence, ignoring the need to maintain skills, save money, and plan for responsibilities that don't pause while we wait for technology to catch up. This is not an argument against progress. It's a call for realism. Technology will change the way we work, but it won't remove the need for human effort altogether. Physical, skilled, and emergency labor will remain essential for far longer than optimistic predictions suggest. The people who thrive in a changing world won't be those waiting for labor to become optional. They'll be the ones who adapt, who learn, and who protect themselves financially while embracing opportunities. They understand that progress is powerful, but responsibility is essential. Work may evolve. Work may be easier or more flexible, but work will not disappear. Recognizing this is not pessimism, it's preparation. And preparation is the foundation of freedom, because the real power isn't avoiding work. It's navigating it wisely. Chapter 9. Preparing for change without gambling your future. The future is coming, whether we're ready or not. AI, automation, and technological progress are advancing rapidly, and it's tempting to either panic or gamble everything on the promise of a radically different world. But there's a third, smarter path: preparing for change without risking your stability. Preparation doesn't mean ignoring opportunity. It doesn't mean giving up on ambition or refusing to believe in progress. It means creating a safety net, building adaptable skills, and making decisions that keep you secure even if predictions miss their mark. It means balancing hope with action, optimism with responsibility. Start with your skills. Technology may replace certain jobs, but it can't replace adaptability, creativity, problem solving, and human judgment. Invest in yourself. Learn things that are valuable in multiple contexts. The more versatile you are, the more resilient your career becomes, no matter what changes occur. Next, look at your finances. Savings isn't about fear, it's about options. Cash reserves give you leverage to take risks intelligently. They allow you to pivot careers, invest in new opportunities, or handle unexpected crises without panic. Even as the world transforms, a stable financial foundation is your anchor. Then, consider cautious experimentation. You can invest in new technologies, side projects, or emerging industries, but don't bet your livelihood on them. Treat innovation like a lab: test, learn, iterate. Keep your main structure intact while exploring new possibilities. Finally, embrace long-term thinking. Change rarely happens overnight. Disruptions arrive in waves, unevenly. Some predictions may come early, others late, or not at all. Planning for multiple scenarios isn't pessimism. It's prudence. It's the difference between reacting in panic and acting with intention. This chapter, it isn't about playing it safe forever. It's about playing it smart today so you can play boldly tomorrow. It's about building a life that can survive uncertainty and thrive during opportunity. The people who succeed in a shifting world won't be the ones ignoring reality or chasing miracles. They'll be the ones who combine awareness, preparation, and courage. Who stay informed, adapt, invest wisely, and never abandon the security that allows them to take meaningful risks. Change is inevitable. Risk is unavoidable. But vulnerability is optional. By preparing thoughtfully, you can face the future with confidence, not fear, and shape a life that thrives no matter what arrives. Chapter 10. Hope is not a financial plan. Hope is powerful. It inspires action, fuels creativity, and keeps us moving forward when the path is uncertain. But hope, by itself, does not pay bills, cover emergencies, or secure your future. And yet, too many people treat hope as a substitute for preparation, optimism as a replacement for planning. That's where the danger lies. Believing that AI, automation, or technological breakthroughs will solve all problems is tempting. It's easy to imagine a world where scarcity disappears, work becomes optional, and money is no longer a concern. But wishing for that future and building your life around it is not strategy. It's speculation. And speculation with your life on the line is a gamble you can't afford to lose. The reality is simple. Personal financial security is not optional. Bills, responsibilities, emergencies, and unexpected events exist today, and they will exist tomorrow. Saving just in case isn't pessimism, it's wisdom. It's buying the freedom to make choices, the flexibility to pivot when life changes, and the power to take opportunities when they appear. Hope is the fuel. Preparation is the engine. You need both. Optimism gives you vision, but preparation gives you control. Without preparation, hope becomes fragile, dependent on circumstances you cannot dictate. With preparation, hope becomes actionable. It allows you to take risks responsibly, invest in opportunities, and embrace innovation without putting your life at risk. This doesn't mean ignoring progress or rejecting bold ideas. It means grounding your choices in reality. It means building a life that can survive uncertainty while still chasing possibility. It means acknowledging that while the future may be extraordinary, the present is non-negotiable. The people who thrive are not those who simply believe the world will take care of them. They are those who believe in the future and act in the present. They save, they learn, they adapt, and they plan. They don't let hope replace action, they let hope inspire it. So, dream boldly. Believe in progress. Imagine the extraordinary. But never forget, hope is not a financial plan. Your preparation is. And that preparation is the foundation for freedom, confidence, and resilience today, tomorrow, and for whatever the future may bring.